guys. Thanks for having me on.
Great to
bright
have
and
you.
early from Miami.
How excited are you going into your first season as the Bucks play-by-play announcer?
Well, I mean, obviously, you guys can imagine. Super excited. I mean, first and foremost, the Bucks are obviously the top of the NBA world and winning the championship last year. But there's a reason why they went about it the right way, and they've just been a first-class organization. I walked in media day, training camp, kind of at the end of September, and I was looking around, and I told a couple of Bucks employees in the front office, and I just said, there's just no era or just a feeling of entitlement with these guys, for a situation that might not be easy to walk into. I would say that this franchise has made it very, very easy for me to walk into.
Lisa, do you think this opportunity that you've gotten is going to open a door to other female broadcasters to be the voice of respective NBA or NFL teams?
Well, you hope so, right? I mean, a week after, I think it's just a shift in mentality. A week after the Bucks made this hire, the 76ers hired Kate Scott.
Yep.
We've already seen, Beth Mowins calling some NBA games this year, right, for ESPN. And so it's a trickle-down effect. And I really believe in terms of being ahead in terms of just progress. I think the NBA, it's got to start with professional leagues, in my opinion, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the NFL, whether it's Major League Baseball, because it's going to be a trickle-down effect. And I think the NBA has been at the forefront with a lot of that in terms of just looking like, how can we become more diverse? How can we represent what America looks like in the hires that we make. And it's not just with broadcasters, it's with officials, it's with coaches, it's with front office. And the NBA has sort of taken the lead role on that, in my opinion, versus some of the other professional leagues across the country.
Lisa, how much confidence does this Bucks team have going into the season defending their championship when you have the likes of the Brooklyn Nets hanging around, the Lakers, potentially Golden State, and other teams coming out of the East?
You know what? It's a great question, and it's something when I sat down next to my broadcast partner, Marcus Johnson, and the first day of training camp. And we're watching them practice. And first of all, out of the gates, they were going 5-on-5. There was no skill training or anything on day one, which I love to see. So they were going to go after it the second that they hit the court. But I'm sitting next to Marcus Johnson, and he's watched this team so closely in the last few years. And he leans over to me and he says, they just got this cool, calm, collected swagger to them. Like everything's going to be okay, And you look at the guys. First of all, their demeanor. It's very even keel, right, with their leaders from Giannis to Chris Middleton to Drew Holiday. They're not going to be the guys that are going to get too high or too low. And on top of that, so you add that kind of demeanor to your leaders. And then you add a championship where they've already had that under their belt. And I just, they're okay with people picking against them. They're okay with people saying they're the third best team in the East. If I remember right, I think they did okay, kind of being the number 3 seed last year.
Lisa, in Game 6 of the NBA Finals versus the Phoenix Suns, Giannis had 50 points, 14 rebounds, and was 17 and 19 from the free throw line, something that a lot of people criticize him on most of his career. Why do you think this man is still not appreciated the way he should be appreciated in the history of the greats in this game?
Well, because I think he's still really young, and I think he's still really developing. We've seen maybe in the last few games of preseason, and preseason is preseason, right? But I think we even saw flashes of it in their opener against the Nets, that he's constantly working on his outside shot. So there are different pieces. He was not the superstar to come into the league when he was drafted, right? He was undersized. He wasn't as strong, didn't have the kind of skill set that he has now. So each and every year, Jason, he's kind of added to his repertoire of stuff. So we're only scratching the surface right now of what Giannis can do. And I really believe, in the short off season, what we've had like a 90-day off season, but he went back to work and he's worked on that outside shot. And so I think that's just going to be another tool to his toolbox that we'll see a little bit more this year. So we're only seeing the beginning of Giannis. So let's have that conversation maybe 3 years or 5 years down the line and talk about maybe Giannis as a whole now that he's developed his body and that he's developed his game a little bit more in the last few years.
Yeah, Lisa, he is relatively young, but yet experienced in the NBA, winning MVPs, championships, things of that nature. But yet and still, it feels like, and we've had this conversation all morning long, on people moving the goalposts on Giannis. And it seems like it continues to keep happening, even though we saw the way he played Tuesday night. Now, all of a sudden, it's like, well, he needs to do this, he needs to do that, instead of just saying, well, you know what, he is like one of the top dudes to ever do it.
Yeah, but isn't that what MJ had to face, right? With some of the different parameters. Well, Michael can't do this. Michael can't play defense. Michael can't hit that outside shot consistently. I think we've seen it with LeBron too, and I think that's just for right or for wrong. I think that's just the nature of fandom, right? Or covering the league. Like, we're all so cynical of what people cannot do that we don't appreciate what they're doing in front of us right now. And you know what? That's okay. Like, Giannis is fueled by that. And so I think if you ask Giannis, he would say, keep bringing it. Keep telling me what I can't do, and then I'll show you that I can. And that is, when we talk about superstars in the league, whether they are playing right now or in the past, isn't that what has made them great? Is when they have tried to prove people wrong, and I think Giannis is right there on the list and doing exactly that.
Lisa Byington, ladies and gentlemen, Bucks TV voice, the first woman to be a full-time play-by-play announcer for NBA games. Thanks for jumping on with us, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Lisa. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's a pleasure, guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Guys, are the Dallas Cowboys winning in spite of Mike McCarthy?
Gosh.
God, Key loves these kind of topics. That's coming up. After Key has this from Dr. Pepper.
Whatever. College football fans, after an off season that felt a little more off than usual. Fan feels